Good morning. In this video, we are going to talk about some Sanskrit concepts like the concept of Halanta, about Devanagari diacritics, and combined consonants. So let's begin. The first thing that we are going to talk about are Devanagari diacritics. Devanagari is a script that is known as Abugida. So vowels are represented in two ways. The first are the standard characters that we have just learned, and second way to represent them is in a diacritical form where a symbol is used to represent that particular vowel. So for example, there is no diacritic for a, but all other remaining vowels are having diacritics. When a word is beginning with a vowel, only then we use the standard vowel characters. And whenever a vowel is coming in between a word, we always use diacritics. Now, diacritics are only important to know if you are interested in Devanagari. If we are extreme beginners, the best way to learn Sanskrit is from IAST. It was just for information's sake that I have introduced you with these diacritics here. So if we are with IAST, we don't need to learn them. The next concept is that of Halanta. Halanta basically is a very simple concept. Halanta basically what does is that it eliminates that inherent schwa that is there in all consonants. In IAST, it is much simpler. All the consonants will not be followed by a, which represents a schwa. So that is all about Halanta. Here are a few examples. In the first word, the word is Rama. Rama. Both R and M are being followed by a vowel. In the case of R, it is A, and in the case of Ma, it is A. So Rama. But the next example is of Hanuman. Hanuman. And in this case, the ending na is not being followed by a schwa. So that you see in the Devanagari example that we find a stroke beneath na that represents that this na is half na. So it is not Hanumana, it is Hanuman. Similarly, in the case of third word, that is Agni, the ga is Halanta. In the case of Vishwamitra, it is Sha after Vi, that is Halanta. So it is not Vishavamitra, it is Vishwamitra. And the most famous of example is Namaste. In this case, S is Halanta. Now you would have already noted that in the case of Devanagari illustration of Agni, Vishwamitra and Namaste, there is no stroke symbol that we've had previously seen beneath Devanagari characters. Well, that is because Devanagari is a very complicating script. You can describe Halanta, especially, in various manners. You basically conjunct two consonants together, and the consonant that is coming above the another character is Halanta. So if we want to learn it from Devanagari, it is going to be really challenging. So best way is to go with IAST. Now we are going to learn about combined consonants of Sanskrit. The first combined consonant of Sanskrit is Halanta ka plus retroflex sh, which forms ksha, ksha, ksha. The Sanskrit examples are like the words kaksha, kaksha, which means room or chamber. The word kshama, kshama, which means forgiveness, and the word kshetra, kshetra, which means field or area. Our next combined consonant is halantata plus ra, creating tra, tra. The Sanskrit examples are like the word tatra, tatra, which means there. The word kutra, kutra, which means where. And the word trasa, trasa, which means fear or terror. Our next consonant is Halanta ja plus nya. Now this is a quite complicating because there are many versions of the pronunciation of conjunction of these two characters in Sanskrit. Few people call it gya, which is quite the most prevalent. Few people call it jnya, which is also perhaps has been derived directly by conjugating these two consonants. But it seems both of them are not correct. The reason why the gya is not correct is that it is a guttural sound. We go from ga to ya, gya, which doesn't seem like something that is concordant with. And the second is jnya, which also seem quite incorrect. Reason is that if you hear it properly, the ja is not supposed to be followed by any vowel, and in this case it is schwa. So when we say jnya, the ja is being followed by a extremely minute schwa, which is restricted, which is not the way it is supposed to be. What this is trying to explain is basically that it is the conjugation of half ja plus nya will give rise to a palatal consonant or palatal sound, which is quite nasalic in nature. So the correct way to pronunciate this consonant is that we must position our tongue the same way as we position while pronunciating or producing the sound ja. And rather than saying ja, we end up saying nya. All right, the nya of lasagna. So take your tongue and press it to your palate as you do by saying the sound ja, and end up pronouncing nya. It goes like this. You have to, if you want to really understand the true sound, go from imperfect to perfect. So say ja nya, ja nya, and then try to remove the schwa at the end of ja, and then you get the sound nya, nya, nya. Now it do sounds like g sound a little bit, but you will realize this is a palatal sound. Rather than being guttural sound of gya, it is a palatal sound with nasalization it is. So gnya, gnya. The Sanskrit examples are like the word jnana, 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 which means knowledge. The word yajna, 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 which is the Vedic fire sacrifice. And the word prajna, 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 which means supreme or true wisdom. So jnana, vijnana, vaijnanika, all these jna sound is a palatal and nasal consonant. Okay, and you can hear it properly if you go to some authentic channels that do Vedic recitation. You will not find gya or janya, you will find this nya. So you can listen and come to realization yourself how it has to be pronounced correctly. There remains another consonant, that is combined consonant, and it was used the most inside Vedic Sanskrit. But in classical Sanskrit, it was excluded, represented by da. So I'm not going to discuss that in this video. And that was all for today. In the next video, we are going to talk about Visarga. Till then, have a nice day.